Hey guys, as some of you may know, I'm a pretty big Harry Potter nerd. I went as him for Halloween 3 or 4 years in a row when I was in school, and I always read the book as soon as they came out. I, like many of you, have watched the movies a lot, but there are certain moments that even the most committed among us miss. I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd, and here's my list of top 10 Harry Potter Easter eggs. Number 10. The Marauders map. During the credits of Prisoner of Azkaban, we see those involved in the film listed as the camera pans over the Marauders map. But if you look closely at the right moment, you see 2 pairs of feet in a rather telling position. I don't know what they're doing, but they're definitely doing something. And let's be real, at a boarding school with a bunch of hormonal teens, this would not be at all uncommon to find on the map. Number 9. The filmmakers seem to have received information from Rowling about the books before they were released, because we see references to the Deathly Hallows in the films long before they were introduced in the books. You can find the Deathly Hallows symbol all over the place in the series, as early as the Goblet of Fire, which came out 2 years before the Deathly Hallows book that first introduced the symbol. I knew that Rowling had spoken to Alan Rickman about Snape's character arc, but it's cool that she let the filmmakers in on it too, so that they could make educated decisions with the story, and include Easter eggs for us diehard fans. Number 8. When entering Dumbledore's office, you'll remember that it was guarded by a stone statue. In the books, this statue was a gargoyle, but in the movies they decided to throw in a little Easter egg for those paying extra attention, by using a stone griffin. So the door is guarded by a griffin. It's a griffin door. Get it? Because Dumbledore absolutely favors Gryffindor. Boom. As a side note, the griffin pun was also in the books, but in a subtler way, with a griffin-shaped knocker on the door. Number 7. Fittingly, the number 7 is a huge part of the books. As is common with magical books, the number 7 is used to an incredible extent. There were 7 Horcruxes. There are 7 snakes on the door of the Chamber of Secrets. There are 7 players on a Quidditch team. Harry Potter's Quidditch number is 7. Moody's chest had 7 locks. There are 7 Weasley children, even 7 letters in Weasley. Okay, that one might be a coincidence, but what I'm saying is, J.K. Rowling seems to like the number 7 even more than Monica from Friends. Number 6. Winky! If you were a fan of the books, you may have been disappointed when Winky didn't make it into the Goblet of Fire. Or maybe you were happy because Winky was kind of annoying. But it seems the filmmakers may have inserted Winky into the films in a little Easter egg. In the scene during the Quidditch World Cup, there's a very brief glimpse of 2 house elves riding llamas. While they could just be random house elves, I lean towards thinking it's Dobby and Winky, both of whom were sadly left out of the 4th film. Plus, it's hilarious to picture Dobby riding on a llama. I'm not sure if it actually is Winky or just supposed to be an homage to her, since presumably she would be scrambling around after the Malfoys if she was in fact there. But a man can dream. Number 5. Throughout the books, Dumbledore seems to show a certain preference towards Gryffindor. Some people view his rewarding Neville with points at the end of the first book as proof of his preferential treatment, but Neville's actions actually strike a chord with the old guy. Neville standing up to his friends parallels greatly Dumbledore's actions when he had to stand up to Grindelwald, who was Dumbledore's best friend before turning evil. Many people don't realize just how significant Neville's actions were to Dumbledore, but the similarities between the two are undeniable. Number 4. There's one Easter egg that basically bookended the films, and it's pretty cute, if unrealistic. Remember when Harry's chocolate frog jumps out the window in the first movie? It's not a big deal for him since he's rolling in the cash and he thinks nothing more of it. But when you see his kids getting on the Hogwarts Express on their way to school, we see a chocolate frog climb in through the window and jump to them. Even though it seems like just a small, unimportant detail, I was covered in goosebumps while I was writing this. It's just so cool to see everything come full circle and to remember how far Harry's come in the wizarding world. Number 3. Hogwarts is chock full of portraits, and all of them had to be different. When the set designers ran out of wizards, they had to start improvising. Some portraits they just made up, like Henry Bumblepuffed, but there are others that are even more interesting, if controversial. One shows what seems to be Lord Voldemort in the form we see him in later movies, with the snake-like, noseless, hairless face. Yet another shows a wizard in a grey cloak with a long grey beard, who looks strikingly like Gandalf from the Tolkien films. However, as I said, these are controversial because they're fairly blurry and not everyone agrees on what they show. But personally, I think they're correct. Number 2. There may have been much more to Snape's first interaction with Harry than meets the eye. As I'm sure you know, Snape asked Harry,
"What would you get if I added powdered root of asphodel to an infusion of wormwood?"
That was awful. I swear I can do a better Snape impression if I practiced. While this sounds like magic mumbo jumbo, scholars of the Victorian flower language have found some interesting parallels. In this language, asphodel is a type of lily, Harry's mother's name, and it means "my regrets follow you to the grave." Wormwood means absence and is generally used to represent bitter sorrow. So basically, Snape could be saying, "I bitterly regret Lily's death." Whoa. What's more, wormwood is generally associated with the Greek god Artemis, who is associated with deer, which is a Patronus that both Snape and Lily share. Now, this may sound far-fetched, but I'm not convinced that this is a coincidence. It simply works too well. I still hate Snape though. Sure, he did good things and was brave to go against Voldemort, but there was no reason for him to be such a jerk to Harry throughout the books. But Sasha says I'm dumb. Number 1. Sometimes superstitions are just good sense. You may remember in Prisoner of Azkaban that Professor Trelawney doesn't want to sit at a table with 12 other people, since she claims that the first to rise from a table of 13 will be the first to die. While this is cast off as superstition, it actually seems to be true. When she arrives at the table, it seems like there are 12 people seated there, and Dumbledore rises to get her a seat. But Scabbers, who we know to be Peter Pettigrew, was in Ron's pocket, meaning that there were actually 13 people at the table. When Dumbledore rose, he was rising from a table of 13, and he was in fact the first to die. This superstition held true in other instances in the book as well, with both Sirius and Lupin rising from tables of 13 and later dying. We really ought to listen to Trelawney more. That's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed making it. If you have any suggestions for other Harry Potter top 10s, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.